everyone, what is up? I've missed you guys so much. Like, I have been trying to record a video for what feels like forever now, and I know you're probably like, why is Ashley yelling at me? But it's because I'm so excited to be doing this. My goodness. Hello everybody. In case you forgot who I am, my name is Ashley, Ashley with an I. Welcome back to my channel where we're striving to become healthy and whole His way, even on a 3-month hiatus. We're still striving. I believe back in June, I took a bit of a sabbatical. I really felt like God was like, Ashley, I need you to rest, rest holistically. You know, not just go to sleep at night, not just, I don't know, scroll on social media or whatever, but like literally just like rest your mind, rest your body, rest yourself mentally, emotionally, just like in every single area, rest. It was hard. It was real hard. And the funny thing is like, I was tired. Like I was really tired. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this month of rest and like, I'm just gonna rest. Like, I was like, I'm so on board with this. And I was like oddly pumped to take some time off to do nothing. And I say that with air quotes because I still had to go to work. And I still had to do, you know, life, laundry, take out the trash, take care of my car. So I wasn't like on a total sabbatical and whatnot, but I was on a partial one. So, you know, you take what you can get sometimes. But anyways, I'm telling y'all, I was fighting that rest so hard. Like 1 week after not posting a video, I was like, oh wow, this is nice. And then the next week I was like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Like, I was just like at a loss. What is that? It's the washing machine. Well, it's spinning. Cool. Well, now that's done. I guess I shall continue. So yeah, so like I was saying, I was so used to going and doing and being somewhere and like just always having to be on 100%. That I did not realize that I had to like force my body to shut down, which sounds kind of crazy because it's like most people would think like, oh, shutting down is a bad thing, but it's like no, like sometimes with like a computer, stumble over my words. Sometimes with like a computer, like you need to like force it to shut down so that way it can like reset and like, you know, pop back up and be better, honestly. So honestly, that was kind of what I had to do. It was like force myself to shut down. And there go the dogs. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna have some special guests here. So, as you guys can see, I now live with 2 dogs. And we'll get to that part of the story a little bit later. They're not my dogs. But yeah, I wouldn't mind if they were. Y'all are gonna see them do some real interesting stuff back there. But I'm gonna keep it rolling because I kind of find it entertaining myself. But anyways, there was just a lot of things that I had to just pull back from and just make sure that I was resting intentionally, which is one of our principles at my church, and then also just making sure that I wasn't doing anything more than I was spending time with God. Because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I could go through a whole day and do anything and everything under the sun. Do anything and everything under the sun and get to bed and be like, oh God, I hope you understand. I didn't have time to, you know, like really spend time with you today because I had to do X, Y, and Z. And, you know, give yourself some grace. That happens. But at the same time, if it becomes a pattern, then it becomes a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I know this is a lot of talk, but honestly, this is about to be a whole 3-month update about like what has happened. I promise y'all to not fall off the face of the earth. I have had a lot going on. Plug your headphones in, go ahead, start doing your laundry, start making up your bed, because I have a whole story to tell y'all, a whole one. But it's gonna be good. I need to take a water break first. That introduction kind of wore me out. Hey, Abby. Guys, this is Abby. And that is Scout on his way over. Yes, here we go. So in March, I actually started the home buying process. So I took the first time home buyers course, and it just really piqued my interest to buy a home because I'm 24, I'm single, I had quite a bit of money in savings, and I really feel comfortable staying in this area. So I was like, well, why not start looking through the home buying process and just make an investment early on. So I got connected with an agent and shopped for a couple lenders and really just started chasing down some houses. I found a couple good options, but there were quite a few that slipped through my hands just because of getting outbid or it just being slightly above my price point. And there were some moments where I was starting to feel a little discouraged. But around June, I would say mid-June, there was a house that popped up in the city that I wanted to within my price point. It was a cute little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house with a finished attic, and it was just super cozy and quaint. And I was like, wow, this is like super, super cute. So my agent and I went to go look at it. And when I first walked around, I was like, okay, like the pictures definitely made it look bigger. I'm gonna do a whole other video on like real estate and the whole home buying process for you guys. Viewers that have never purchased a home, there is a lot that they don't tell you in that first time home buyers class. But anyways, so I was like, okay, this is cute, but I was like, I don't really know if I can like make it work because it was small. And I was realistic. I knew that I did not have $1 million budget to work with, and your first home, especially in your 20s, if you're not making a lot of money, is not going to be a mansion. So I put in an offer, the agent accepted my offer, we went under contract, and I was super excited about it. Within a couple days, the agent requested to release from the contract. Now, if you don't know what that means, it just simply means he just changed his mind and wasn't interested in selling it to me anymore. So I got really upset by that because I just kind of felt like I was thrown for a loop. It honestly did not linger with like how upset I was because I just had this like feeling on the inside, and like, yeah, it was just this really strange feeling that like this was not over. And I was just kind of like at peace with it. I was like, okay, like, you know, he released, we're just gonna move on, and that'll be that. So a few days later, my agent calls to tell me that the seller has requested to go back under contract and that he's willing to make all the repairs necessary to the house to make it marketable and for me to be, for it to be move-in ready for me. I was like, okay, cool, he's gonna make all the repairs. His only request was that we use our contractors instead of his contractors. The house was a flip, so he had done a lot of communicating with contractors already, and he was just like, you use your contractors, send me an invoice, I'll pay for it, and we'll just move on. For the next couple weeks, we had a lot of contractors in and out of the house. We did the home inspection, and for the most part, everything came back except for probably the 3 worst things. Everything came back clear except for probably the 3 worst things to not come back clear, and that was the plumbing, the HVAC, and the crawl space. So we informed the seller of these things, and of course he had to make the necessary repairs in order for us to go through with the buyer purchase agreement. And I'm telling y'all, this whole process, I learned so much about myself because I had a lot of anxiety trusting that the contractors were going to do what they said they were going to do. And it was literally written in black and white that they had to make these repairs, and I still was just like, oh my gosh, are they gonna make the repairs? Is everything gonna be done in time? Blah, 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 blah. And I was just like mad stressed, which was like not good at all because obviously I still had to continue living my life. I still had to go to work. I still had to, you know, take care of myself. I was supposed to be resting, and I didn't feel like rested at all. And part of that is definitely my own doing. I was definitely trying to make sure that the situation was under control when that honestly was not my job. Anyways, so the repairs were being made, and the one request that I had was for early possession of the home, given that my lease was ending. So we were supposed to close on the house on July 15th, but my apartment lease ended July 9th. So I was given permission to move into the home July 1st, given that I put my down payment in an escrow account. So I signed the form, and I was given, I forgot what the form was called, honestly. I think it's an early possession form, but I signed the form and, you know, agreed to the terms, and I was given the keys and allowed to move in. So I believe it was like 4th of July weekend. I moved all my things in, which was super, super exhilarating and just like unreal because I'm like, I am moving my stuff into my house. Like that is like absolutely crazy. But yeah, I was like really excited, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to be a homeowner, yada, 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 and everything. Got everything unpacked within like a matter of a week, and pretty much the only thing I hadn't done was like put up pictures on the wall and just kind of put those like final touches to my home to make it just like homey and make it mine. So about another week had passed and my lease had officially ended. So I was not living in my apartment anymore. So in the interim, like the 7 days between July 9th and July 15th, my real estate agent so graciously let me stay with her, just so, you know, I wouldn't have to pay for a hotel. And I don't know, it was just like really, really cool how she just like opened her doors to me. I stayed with her for about a week, but within that week, you know, we were still having issues with the house and we were getting closer and closer to the closing date. So I was not able to flush the toilet. I was not able to run the water. The house was still really hot whenever I walked into the home. And from my understanding, the only repairs that had been done were the crawl space repairs. So in that time, I was just incredibly stressed because I was like, oh my gosh, we have less than 7 days until closing. I'm not closing on this house until these repairs are done. And there was a lot of back and forth between the contractors and my agent and the seller. It just like, it was just intense craziness in my opinion. But through all of that, I thought it was normal. I just heard like the home buying process is so stressful, and I just thought all of the stress was a part of it. So a few days before we get to closing, and by a few days, I think it was 2 days, my agent calls to tell me, or she doesn't call, she tells me because I'm in her house. She tells me that there is an issue with the title, but she doesn't specifically know what the issue is. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? Need to remind you, I did take the first time home buyers class, but it's a lot of information, first of all. And second, the last thing I was thinking about was there being a title issue. So I told my agent, I was like, okay, well, once I get more information about it, then I'll be able to make a decision moving forward as to whether or not I want to push back closing or, you know, what have you. The next day, I spoke with my attorney, and she gave me some additional information on exactly what an unclear title meant. And she also informed me that there were 2 judgments against the home. I requested to have closing pushed back for several days. Honestly, I don't remember how long I requested to have it pushed back. And then I was supposed to talk with the attorney's office the next week and I get a little bit more insight as to whether or not the seller was going to pay off those judgments. Then, the next week got even more stressful, y'all. More stressful. And I'm like, as I'm reliving this, I'm just like, oh my goodness. So the next week, I was told that the seller had 10 days to pay off the judgments, and if he did, then we would have to legally go back under contract for this house. Now, this part I completely understood because it does say in our buyer purchase agreement that the seller must provide a clear title. So given that the title was not clear, they had to give him an opportunity to clear the title in order for us to be in compliance with the buyer purchase agreement. However, the repairs to the home were not finished. And per our contract, the repairs had to be done by July 15th. That Monday was July 18th. The repairs were not done. So regardless of if he cleared the title or not, the repairs were not done by the contract date. And legally, I was able to release from the contract given that the repairs were not done by the day that they were supposed to be done. So I told my agent that I was like, I'm just not comfortable with this situation anymore. Honestly, it just feels like he's just trying to get rid of this house and just like offload it. And there's just something about the situation that just really felt dishonest and very unsettling. And as we got closer and closer and closer to the closing date, I started to feel more and more and more uncomfortable. I really couldn't put my finger on what it was. But then once the following week came and they told me about the 10 days and I also found that the repairs weren't done, we were in this limbo of the attorneys, my attorneys and his attorneys, trying to figure out legally who was right. Was I right to be able to release from this contract given that the repairs weren't done and the title wasn't clear? Or was he right to legally go through with this purchase or with selling this home to me if he had cleared the title? And in my head, I was like, okay, he can clear the title all he wants, but the repairs still aren't done. And I'm not paying for $5,000 worth of repairs to be done on a house that we both agreed would be in a sellable condition by July 15th. So I was just mind blown that for about 10 days, both attorneys' offices were going back and forth to see if legally I would have to take this house. So I was very stressed about that because, you know, obviously this was like not part of the plan. I never even spent a night at the house because I still couldn't flush the toilet. I still couldn't turn on the water. Therefore, I still couldn't take a shower. So I was like, well, I'm not gonna sleep here if I can't like function here. Like that would be weird. I was never able to put the utilities in my name, yet all my stuff had already been moved in and had already been unpacked, pending everything being repaired and waiting. I was waiting for everything to be done so that way I could actually start living there. And I had been praying over this house situation and I really thought this was a direction that I was supposed to be going in. And every single hiccup along the way, I was just like, this is just a distraction, like to keep me from being able to close on this house and get what God has for me. And like I said, it was in the city that I wanted to. It was my price point. Everything was brand new. And I was like, I'm not gonna let anything stop me from getting to this house. I'm not gonna let any fear get in my way and yada, yada, yada. And it was just, I had to preach to myself like the whole week. Then the absolute craziest thing happened. And I was just like, wow, okay, this is the icing on the cake. The seller tells my agent that if I do not purchase this home, that he is going to sue me. Y'all, I say this with a smile on my face now, but when she told me that, I cried. And I was just at a loss for words. And I just had to walk away and go for a walk and just vent to God because I was just like, Lord, what did I miss? Like, what did I miss? And for several days, the seller kept dangling that in my face. And I was like, how could I even be sued? And, you know, I was told that, you know, if he provided a clear title, that he completed his contractual obligations. And I was like, but the repairs were never done. Like, does no one care about the repairs? Like, we have a PICRA, like, and we both signed it. And I just could not understand why he was trying to do this. And part of me knew that he was trying to intimidate me and honestly bully me into this home because he owned a house with judgments against it and probably did not want to pay the mortgage anymore, or it was probably becoming a financial liability. And he was just hoping to sell this to me and it not be his issue anymore. However, the day of closing, I mean, he got caught. I was just done. Like, you know, I had everything moved in my house. I was expecting to be moved in several days before this entire situation happened. I had friends and family buy me housewarming gifts. I was thinking about a housewarming party. I was just excited just to be making this step in life, and I was super grateful. And nothing was unfolding the way I thought it was going to. And I was just at a loss. So I was just praying and praying and praying about it. And I knew that God wanted me to release from this contract, hence why I did it. So I was confident in my decision in doing that, but everything else that came after that was in such opposition to my decision that I just had to stand there and literally just remind myself that, like, I know that God was like, release from this contract. And for 10 days, I just had to keep telling myself, you're not gonna get sued, you're not gonna get sued, you're not gonna get sued. Like, this man and whatever his intentions are not going to be successful. I don't know what it is about his life or what's going on in his life that is driving him to do this, but his plans will not prevail. And honestly, God laid it on my heart to pray for that man and his financial situation, because I was like, well, maybe he really needs the money. And this is just kind of what it's come down to. And honestly, doing that really helped me have a different perspective on the situation, and to also just see him as another human being. Throughout this entire process, everything that we have done has been in the name of a buyer and the name of a seller. It was never Ashley and this guy, I'm not gonna say his name, but I think that it was forgotten that there were two people that were behind this situation that have real lives, real things going on. And this whole process affected both of us. So it was a lot. It was a very big learning curve. Definitely learned to stand on what I believe that God had told me. I prayed so much, and honestly had to keep rehearsing to myself that, you know, when you are in God's hands and when you're in God's will, like, he's not going to let you fall. You may stumble, you know, you may feel like you're lost. You may look to the left and look to your right and take your eyes off of God, but like at the end of the day, you're still in his hands. If I just kept reminding myself every single day of the potential of being sued, and the potential to have to take a house I didn't want, and the potential to have to dish out $5,000, and the potential of going into debt over something that really was never supposed to put me in debt like that, like, I would have had so much anxiety and fear, and probably would have taken a couple steps back in my faith, because I would have honestly thought it was all God's fault that I wasn't renewing my mind every single day. So honestly, that just scratched the surface of what I learned throughout this entire process. The most important thing is that in the midst of any sort of troubles or chaos, and no matter what people may say, like, God's word is above all of that. And if you know that you know that you know that you know that God told you something, like, you have to hold fast to that word. Like, you have to hold on to it for dear life and tell God what he said. Like, God, I know you said this. And because you said this, I know you were going to do that. And that was probably one of the biggest takeaways that I took from this. So where am I as of September? I'm actually still living with my real estate agent. After that entire process, we both mutually agreed to take a step back from real estate and to just focus on anything else but purchasing a home for a couple weeks until we could kind of just recover from the emotional toll that took on the both of us. I definitely can say that my agent, she put such a strong foot forward and advocated for me really well during this process. And I know that it was probably just as hard on her as it was for me in different ways to endure that. You know, I know that she wanted to make sure that I had a really seamless home buying process, especially as a young first-time homeowner. And, you know, that is something that she's really passionate about, is like helping people get into, you know, the home that they feel comfortable in and that they love. So I'm really grateful for her not giving up, honestly, and just, you know, not forcing me to do anything I wasn't comfortable with. But yeah, so I still live with her and her family and the dogs, which I don't know where they are. So it has been challenging in some regards because I'm used to being on my own and having my own space and just coming and going as I please. Granted, I can still do that, but it's different when you live under someone else's roof. You definitely want to respect their home. But it has been a really, really unique opportunity to live here, and I've gotten to know her better, gotten to know her family better, and I genuinely believe that this is where I'm supposed to be for now. I'm so grateful that I am not in that house. That, you know, despite all of the hiccups and the bumps in the roads and all the stress that came out of that situation, I came out on the other side unscathed and just really at peace with God's direction. Those type of situations aren't something that we should look to God and blame him for and be like, why God, why God, why God? But more so look at those type of situations, be like, okay, like, what are you trying to teach me in this situation? Like, where are you trying to grow me? Like, how am I being stretched in this area? Granted, you know, he knows that we're human and that we're going to have those feelings and that we're going to question him. We're going to be angry. We're going to be frustrated. But once you are done flushing out all of that, make sure you come back full circle and just like sit at the feet of Jesus and be like, okay, like what is it in this situation that you were trying to show me? Anyways, so for now, I'm not really sure what my posting schedule is going to look like. I would love to hop back into this and do it weekly again. And I've done some really fun meal preps these past couple weeks that I've really wanted to show you guys. So maybe I'll start back out doing those. Maybe I'll do some more singing videos. Like, who knows? I don't know. But I just asked you guys just bear with me and just be patient and just continue watching and subscribing and sharing and you know, just continue being the supportive subscribers that you guys are, the supportive viewers that you guys are, the supportive friends and family that you guys are. I really, really, really appreciate it. I have missed doing this. I've missed you guys so much, and I look forward to just seeing what's next. Oh yeah. Thanks if you sat through this entire video. Like, you're amazing. I hope you got a lot of laundry done, or you know, made it to your destination, or whatever it is that you were doing during the 30 minutes that I was talking. But I really, really appreciate you guys, and I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. So yeah, Scout, you want to tell them bye? Yeah. No. All right, bye guys.